Now, there's some disastrous news for people who care about their privacy, especially on the internet. Recently, the U.S. House of Representatives voted down a bipartisan amendment designed to end the government's most egregious mass surveillance practices, first revealed by whistleblower Edward Snowden. Now, in a final vote to 253 to 175, 126 Democrats joined with 127 Republicans to vote against an amendment introduced by Republican Representative Justin Amash. Now, Justin Amash is more of your libertarian, so he actually does have some principles. I disagree with him on a lot of things, but he seems to have some principles, including the principle of privacy. Now, Justin Amash got together with Representative Zoe Lofgren of California, who's a Democrat, and did this amendment, right? Tried to put this amendment into the basically NSA funding, right? Now, this amendment would have closed loopholes in Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, right? So that's the FISA, right? Now, that section, as it pointed out by Edward Snowden, allowed the NSA to abuse warrantless surveillance capabilities and target emails, text messages, and internet activity of U.S. residents and citizens. Now, look, Republicans, of course, are horrible for voting for this, but you just had 126 Democrats voting to allow the basically bulk collection of American data, and of course allow Donald Trump to have access to it. Now, who else do you think has access to it? Now, among these high-profile Democrats to vote against this amendment was Representative Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He's also a supposed member of the resistance. Now, he's a gigantic Trump critic, says Trump is incredibly dangerous, that he is an existential threat to the United States. Well, now, if Trump is so dangerous, and I agree that he is, well then, how come Adam Schiff just voted to give him, to continue giving him spying powers on American citizens that he can use to go after the press that he calls the enemy of the people or his political opponents? Not only that, but of course, Adam Schiff also gave President Trump, not gave President Trump, but backs the Trump administration in their attempts to start a war with Iran. So that's who Adam Schiff is, right? So let me give you some more information on Section 702. Now, it basically allows the government to collect and store communications of foreign intelligence targets outside of the U.S. If there's a significant purpose to collect foreign intelligence information, right? So you say, oh, this guy's got foreign intelligence, so what we're going to do is we're going to tap your communications. We're going to collect them, bulk collect them, and so we can review them for any sort of intelligence, right? Now, the thing is, it's so wide, they cast such a wide net, that basically a lot of American citizens' information also gets caught up. And so a 2014 report by the Washington Post, by the way, to back that up, reviewed that a large cache of intercepted conversations provided by Edward Snowden revealed that 9 out of 10 account holders were not the intended surveillance targets, but were caught in the net the agency had cast for somebody else. And again, showing how wide that is. Well, now that is deeply problematic. And here you have bulk collection of private communications of American citizens that they didn't get through a warrant. And the president can review that at any time. Now, what if the president wants to start targeting members of the press, journalists, political enemies, under the guise of what? We're just making sure that, that they're not doing, or they don't have foreign intelligence. There's a lot of ways that they can abuse this, and that they have already abused this under the Obama administration. Now, with the Trump administration, it's actually worse. Now, the Lofgren-Amash amendment would basically require the government to acknowledge the protections in the law, because there were some protections built in, and to explicitly promise not to engage in about collection, which is the wide bulk collection. Now, the practice of collecting communications that merely mention a foreign intelligence target. Now, the mass surveillance, and that's what this is. This is mass surveillance, right? That Democrats have just allowed to keep, the Trump administration to keep doing by voting this down. That's what they did. And some of the people who voted against this amendment are Adam Schiff, Henry Kayar, Elijah Cummings, Steny Hoyer, and other members of the so-called resistance. Resistance, huh? More like assistance. That's what that is. Now, Evan Greer, Deputy Director of Fight for the Future, had some harsh words for these Democrats. She said, "It's good to know that House Democrats like Adam Schiff are resisting Trump by voting to ensure that he has limitless authority to conduct mass warrantless surveillance." And in a devastating tweet, Fight for the Future said, quote, "House Democrats, Donald Trump is a reckless authoritarian Russian puppet who poses a grave threat to democracy. Also, House Democrats, we should give Donald Trump limitless domestic surveillance authority to target journalists, dissidents, immigrants, etc." Yeah, immigrants is another one, right? Now, the Democrats, Greer also said in a statement, who voted against this common sense amendment just threw immigrants, LGBTQ folks, activists, journalists, and political dissidents under the bus by voting to rubber stamp the Trump administration's Orwellian domestic spying capabilities. It's true. Now, I point out the Democrats mainly for their hypocrisy, right? Because a lot of them use this rhetoric against Donald Trump, pointing out how he's a dangerous authoritarian and just a general bad person. Well, I agree with that. I think he is a wannabe authoritarian. But if you allow Trump to continue having these powers that he shouldn't, to spy in on Americans with warrantless, information, right? Well, then your words are kind of hollow. Now, and look, there's a reason why their words are hollow, because they don't mean anything. Nancy Pelosi has some of the most heated rhetoric against Donald Trump. And yet she won't do anything. Why? Because all she cares about is fundraising off of Donald Trump. I make a lot of money fundraising off Trump. How Trump is so bad. But I won't actually do anything about it. I won't do impeachment despite multiple felonies. I won't hold him accountable. But she'll do this. And everybody, and all the Democrats are like, oh my God, yes. You go, Pelosi, you go. When she doesn't actually do anything of substance. So weak. They don't actually care about resisting Trump, or more importantly, protecting people's privacy and civil liberties. As for the Republicans, I'm not letting them off the hook either. House Republicans, added Greer, has spent months complaining about the Obama administration's abuse of the FISA, and then moved for the status quo when they had an actual opportunity to rein in what they call Big Brother. And you know why they didn't do that? Because it's all politics. It's all show with the establishment Republicans and Democrats. Adam Schiff. By the way, Adam Schiff agrees, like I said, with John Bolton, that we should go to war with Iran. I think I mentioned that before. Now, on the other side, of course, are progressives. Now, you had a lot of people voting the right way. For example, AOC, she voted in favor of the amendment. Ro Khanna, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Jamie Raskin. Most of the Justice Democrats, by the way, voted the right way. There is one exception, and that's Rahul Grijalva. I don't know why Rahul Grijalva did not vote for this amendment. I hope he comes out and explains himself why he let the establishment continue to keep their domestic spying powers. I am deeply disappointed in him, and I'm also disappointed that this amendment did not pass. And I want to give credit, oddly enough, to Justin Amash. Now, again, he's somebody that I disagree with on a lot of issues, but on the issue of civil liberties and domestic spying, he's actually one of the good guys, rarely enough. Now, you want to know who else voted in favor of this amendment? These names are going to shock you. And this is the contrast, of course, people like Elijah Cummings and Adam Schiff. Greg Gianforte, the guy who body slammed a reporter, he voted in favor of this amendment to rein in Donald Trump's ability to spy on Americans. And Louis Gohmert. Louis frickin' Gohmert is on the right side of an issue. When Gohmert's on the right side, yet so-called resistance heroes like Adam Schiff are on the wrong side, you know things are super messed up. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.